Welcome to Learn English with Podcast. Today, our amazing hosts, Luca and Maria, are here to take you through another exciting episode. Luca, Maria, over to you.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Look, we really pour a lot into making these explorations happen for you guys.
We really do.
And honestly, if you're getting something out of this, if you find it valuable, just taking that second to hit like, share it, or subscribe, it genuinely helps us keep this whole thing going.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. It lets us know we're on the right track.
It really does. So thanks for considering that and for being here today.
Absolutely.
Today, we're going to get into something I think, well, maybe a lot of you have felt it. That weird sense that you're kind of on the edge of your own life.
Like you're watching it happen instead of being in it.
Exactly. Like you're constantly watching what everyone else is doing in your own story.
Yeah.
It feels a bit distant. We've looked at this from a few angles, and we really want to unpack the why behind it today.
Right. What's really going on there?
Yeah. Our goal here is to figure out why we get stuck in that observer mode sometimes, and, crucially, how to step back into the main character role in our own lives.
And it's interesting how sneakily this can creep in, right? Just think about the sheer amount of stuff people see online every day.
Oh, yeah. It's endless.
And that constant feed of, perfectly curated moments, it can subtly shift your whole perspective without you even really clocking it.
Okay, so let's talk more about that feeling, this side character phenomenon. It's like you scroll and scroll, see all the trips, the wins, the highlights,
Right.
and suddenly your own, Tuesday afternoon feels kind of bland, less important.
Spot on. When your focus is always out there absorbing other people's stories, it's almost inevitable you invest less in your own.
Right.
You might, stop pushing for your own goals or let personal growth slide or even just not fully feel your own experiences as they happen.
Like you're watching a movie of your life instead of actually being in it.
That's a great way to put it. You're a spectator.
And it's so easy to get sucked into just watching. I mean, we're curious people, right?
Yeah.
We want to know what others are up to.
Absolutely. It's human nature.
And these platforms, they know that. The constant updates, the notifications, they kind of prey on that curiosity.
They really do.
Yeah.
And underneath, there's often that dopamine thing going on.
Ah, yeah, the brain chemistry.
Right. Every new post, it can give you a tiny hit, sets up a reward loop.
So you keep coming back for more.
Exactly. And the tricky part is you can feel like you're accomplishing something, like you're staying connected or informed, but it's often just passive watching. It doesn't actually, do anything for your own life.
Right. It's like fake productivity almost. You feel busy, but you haven't moved. So what are the real downsides of staying in that passive mode too long?
Well, if you think about the bigger impact, just watching, not doing, it can lead to this kind of mental fog. Sluggishness.
Yeah, I know that feeling. You scroll for an hour and feel exhausted.
Exactly. Even though you weren't physically doing much, you might feel more anxious, maybe a bit envious of what you're seeing, that social comparison trap.
Comparing your everyday to their highlights.
Precisely. And it can really mess with how you see yourself.
It's that weird thing where you think you're relaxing, scrolling on the couch, but you actually end up feeling worse.
Right.
Drained.
Totally. And the danger is that this inactivity starts to feel normal. You trick yourself into thinking passive watching is relaxing, even when, deep down, it leaves you feeling kind of empty or disconnected.
Okay, so if scrolling isn't real rest, and it makes us feel like background characters, what do we actually do? Setting screen time limits seems obvious, but you mentioned mental boundaries too.
Yeah, that's key. It's not just how long you scroll, it's how you scroll. What's your mindset?
Okay.
So a really good check-in before you even open an app or start scrolling is to ask yourself, is this actually going to add something useful to my life right now?
Like, what's the purpose of this scroll session?
Exactly. Is it going to teach me something valuable, spark real inspiration, genuinely make me feel good? Or is it just killing time?
I like that. Shifting from just reacting, grabbing the phone, to making a conscious choice.
You got it. Be intentional. And if you notice certain accounts or types of content always leave you feeling kind of crummy, envious, anxious, inadequate,
Yeah.
that's a signal. Maybe it's time to unfollow, mute, or just be way stricter about how much you see that stuff. Protect your mental space.
Makes sense. But what about when you do see something genuinely cool online, something inspiring? That happens too.
Oh, for sure. And when that happens, the trick is to act on it, like right away if possible, even in a small way.
Okay, how so?
So You see an amazing travel video, don't just sigh and keep scrolling. Take literally 5 minutes, look up that place, read one short article about it. Or you see someone doing, I don't know, push-ups or painting or whatever. Try doing just a couple yourself. Try sketching one little thing.
So you're closing the gap between seeing and doing.
Precisely. You're linking the input with an actual output, however small. It starts rewiring your brain bit by bit. You move from just being a watcher to being a doer.
Okay, got it. Mental boundaries, immediate action on inspiration. What about just the raw habit? You know, that automatic reach for the phone when you have 2 spare minutes. Breaking that.
Yeah, that's the tough one for a lot of people. It's ingrained.
Definitely.
But it is breakable. The key strategy is substitution. You need to consciously choose something else in that moment.
Like what?
Anything, really, that isn't scrolling. Pick up a book for 10 minutes. Write down one thought in a journal. Do a few stretches. Work on a hobby. Even just sitting quietly for a bit.
So actively deciding not to scroll and choosing something else instead, even if it's short.
Exactly. Every single time you resist that urge and do something different, you're strengthening that self-discipline muscle. It seems small in the moment, but over time, those little choices add up. They change your habits, and honestly, they can change your life.
You mentioned a 30-day challenge idea earlier. Could you flesh that out a bit?
Sure. The idea is pretty simple. Commit to a set period, say 30 days, where you intentionally replace that default scrolling time with something more, well, constructive or restorative.
Okay.
So maybe dedicate that time each day to learning a skill or working on a passion project you've put off or journaling more consistently. Or maybe it's just about genuine rest, like meditating or reading or spending time in nature screen-free.
That sounds challenging. I imagine it feels weird at first.
Oh, definitely. There can be real discomfort initially, like losing a security blanket, you know. You might feel like you're missing out or just feel restless. But stick with it, and usually people start to notice changes. Thinking feels clearer, attention gets sharper, they feel more motivated, more present in their own lives.
Now, what about the justification we often hear or tell ourselves that we need to scroll to stay updated or know what's going on?
Yes, the keeping up excuse.
Right. Is there any real weight to that anymore?
It's a tough one because the desire to be informed is valid. But the reality of today's information landscape, I mean, the sheer volume, it's overwhelming.
It's literally impossible to see everything.
Exactly. Trying to truly catch up online is like trying to drink from a fire hydrant. You just can't.
Yeah.
And we have to remember, these platforms want you to feel like you need to keep scrolling. Their whole model depends on keeping your eyeballs glued.
Right. Endless scrolling is the goal, their goal.
Precisely. So realizing that can be freeing. It gives you permission to log off. You don't have to see everything. It's okay. You won't actually miss out on anything truly crucial.
That's a good reminder. And flipping it around, when we were spending all that time watching others, what are the opportunity costs? What are we not doing?
That's a really important question to ask yourself. Every hour spent passively watching someone else's life is an hour not spent actively building your own. Think about your own dreams, those skills you wanted to learn, the relationships you want to nurture, your health, your well-being.
That time has to come from somewhere.
It does. If you actually tallied up the minutes, the hours spent scrolling over a week or a month, it can be pretty staggering. What could you have done with that time instead? Life's happening right now, you know, it doesn't wait for you to finish scrolling.
And there's also the point about what we're actually seeing online.
Right.
It's not the full picture.
Not even close, usually. What we see online is almost always the highlight reel, the final product, the success story, the beautiful vacation pic.
The destination, not the journey.
Exactly. What's usually missing is all the hard work, the messy middle, the setbacks, the boring bits, the sheer effort that went into getting that highlight.
So comparing our own messy, work-in-progress life to someone else's polished final photo, it's just not fair.
It's incredibly unfair and super demotivating. You have to, trust your own process, acknowledge your own efforts, your own building phase, even when it doesn't look like someone else's finished product yet. Keep building your thing.
So it sounds like the answer isn't necessarily to just ditch all social media and online stuff completely.
Not necessarily, no. For most people, that's not realistic or even desirable.
But it's more about being way more intentional with how we use it.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Think about shifting from mindless consumption to mindful usage. How can you make these platforms work for you, for your goals, instead of just letting them drain your time and energy?
Okay, so how do we do that practically?
It comes down to curation. Be ruthless about who and what you follow. Actively seek out accounts that genuinely educate you, that inspire you to do things, that align with your values, that make you feel good.
And cut out the rest.
Pretty much. Unfollow the negativity, the stuff that makes you feel bad, the endless noise that doesn't add value. Treat your feed like you treat your diet. You want to feed your mind nourishing stuff, right?
That makes a lot of sense. Feed your mind well.
Exactly.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what's the main takeaway here? How do we really step up and be the main character?
I think the core idea is remembering this. Your life unfolds through your actions, your choices, your engagement with the real world, not through watching someone else's life on a screen.
You deserve to be the star of your own story.
Absolutely. You are the star. It's your narrative.
And it's built in those small moments, isn't it? Pursuing an interest, talking to a friend, working on that project.
That's exactly it. Those everyday actions, those small wins, that's what creates your life's unique masterpiece, not just admiring someone else's.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. What's one small thing, one tiny action you can take today to step more fully into your own story? Just one thing.
Yeah, chew on that.
Great stuff. Thanks for digging into this with us today. We'll talk again soon.
I didn't realize when it started, really. Maybe it was sometime during college when life got hectic and I needed easy escapes. Or maybe it was after my first job, when I felt invisible sitting behind a desk, punching numbers into spreadsheets nobody cared about. But slowly, without even noticing, I became a side character in my own story. Every evening after work, I'd flop onto the couch, open my phone, and dive into other people's lives. Influencers traveling the world, entrepreneurs announcing their million-dollar startups, fitness models posting their workout routines. I consumed it all like candy. Hours would pass, without me even realizing it. I told myself I was just relaxing, just catching up. But deep down, I knew the truth. I was addicted to watching others live the life I secretly wanted. It felt harmless at first, but after months of this routine, a strange feeling crept in. I started feeling empty, like my life was dull and gray compared to the vibrant colors flashing across my screen. My small achievements, finishing a work project, finally reading a book, cooking a decent meal, felt insignificant compared to the glamour and success I saw online. Without realizing it, I had shrunk myself down. I wasn't the main character anymore. I was a background extra in someone else's movie. One Saturday afternoon, something snapped. I was lying in bed, phone in hand, deep into a YouTube rabbit hole about people building their dream businesses from scratch. One guy, not much older than me, had just opened his third cafe. Another girl was traveling solo across Europe, documenting her journey. Another had lost 50 pounds and was sharing motivational tips. And me, I was still lying there, watching, consuming, doing nothing. A wave of frustration washed over me. I wasn't jealous of them. Exactly. I was angry at myself. Angry because I knew, deep down, that I was capable of doing something too. But I wasn't doing anything. I was just watching. And no matter how many videos I clicked, or how many posts I liked, I was no closer to living the life I wanted. That night, I grabbed a notebook and wrote in big letters, "I am done being a watcher." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of realization. I learned that humans are wired to be obsessed with other people's lives. It's baked into our brains. Social media knows this and feeds our curiosity nonstop, giving us those quick dopamine hits every time we scroll. But I also learned something even scarier. The more you passively consume, the lazier your mind becomes. The easier it gets to do nothing. The easier it gets to sit and rot, feeling sorry for yourself while cheering on strangers. I had fallen into the trap of passive consumption, and it was stealing my life right out from under me. Enough was enough. I started setting boundaries with content. Every time I picked up my phone, I asked myself, is this adding value to my life? If the answer was no, I put it down. If the answer was yes, if it was teaching me something, inspiring real action, I let myself watch. But no more mindless scrolling. No more digital junk food. My time was too precious. Most importantly, I forced myself to turn inspiration into action. If I watched a 5-minute workout video, I got up and did a 5-minute workout. If I saw a productivity tip, I tried it immediately. No more passively feeling motivated. Action was now the goal. Even if it was small, even if it was clumsy, I had to act. The cravings didn't go away overnight. I had built an addiction. After all, there were days I slipped, scrolling for hours and feeling that familiar emptiness claw back in. But I didn't let those days become weeks anymore. To break the scrolling addiction, I started replacing it with real activities. Stretching, reading, journaling, going for walks. Sometimes I just sat quietly and thought about my future. At first, it felt awkward, even boring. But slowly, I started feeling different, clearer, lighter, more in control. I decided to challenge myself. 30 days, no mindless scrolling. Instead, I had to spend that time either building skills, pursuing passions, connecting with real people, or resting properly. The first week was torture. My fingers would itch to grab my phone during every spare moment. But by week 2, I noticed something miraculous. I wasn't craving content anymore. I was craving action. I wanted to write, to move, to build, to create. My energy wasn't being drained by invisible thieves anymore. It was being poured back into me. One evening, while organizing my notes, a thought struck me hard. I had wasted so much time trying to catch up with endless content. But you can never catch up. The internet is infinite. You're not supposed to finish it. You're just supposed to get trapped. That realization freed me. I stopped feeling guilty about not knowing the latest trends, the latest gossip, the latest whatever. I wasn't falling behind. I was stepping off the hamster wheel. As my habits changed, something else became painfully clear. Every minute I had wasted scrolling was a minute stolen from my dreams. I thought back to all the things I had once wanted to do. Learn Spanish, start a blog, get in better shape. If I had used even a fraction of my wasted time for those goals, I'd be light years ahead by now. But the past was past. The only thing that mattered was what I did next. Another breakthrough came when I realized social media only shows the destination, never the journey. I had been comparing my messy, uncertain middle chapters to someone else's polished, triumphant highlights. No wonder I felt like a failure. But behind every flashy post, there were untold hours of struggle, doubt, and hard work. Everyone walks their own unseen road. And now, it was time for me to walk mine. I didn't quit social media completely. I transformed how I used it. I unfollowed every account that made me feel anxious, envious, or empty. I followed creators who educated, inspired action, or shared honest journeys, not just glossy finishes. I curated my feed like I was curating my mind, because that's exactly what I was doing. Today, I'm still far from where I want to be. I'm still building, still struggling, still learning. But now I'm living. I'm the main character in my story again. And when I do scroll sometimes, because I'm human, I do it with a smile. Because I know the difference now. Watching is easy. Doing is hard. But living is worth it. And no one, not even the most glamorous influencer on earth, can live my story for me. That's my job. And finally, I'm showing up for it.
Thank you for watching. Your journey to better English and unstoppable confidence starts here. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep growing together. See you in the next video, champion.